Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another thrift store prepper video. And this is a very special thrift store prepper video because I'm actually recording this in front of a live audience. And by live audience I mean I'm doing a live stream at the same time as I'm making this video for YouTube, and the live stream is about me making a video for YouTube, if that makes any sense to anyone. So without further ado, we're going to be making a little thrift store prepper original oatmeal recipe today, and we're going to be making potato porridge. That's right, you heard me, potato porridge. So we're going to be using some of our powdered mashed potato that I have in my pantry, and we're going to be using some oatmeal. Now, I picked up today their $1.77 for the 12 pack of instant oatmeal, so we're going to be choosing one or two of those. And if our viewer on the live feed in our live audience wants to choose what flavor oatmeal we're going to use for our recipe, let me know and I'll try and see what the answer is on the live feed. But for those of you that are watching the regular video and not the live feed, we're going to be using some instant oatmeal in this recipe, and it's going to be similar to recipes we've done before, so we're going to just leave that for the side. And the other item we have that we're going to be using to make our oatmeal with is going to be some fortified soy beverage. Now, they're not allowed to call it soy milk anymore, I don't think, for I don't know, whatever reason, trade purposes or something. But this shit is filled and packed with nutrients and your daily requirements. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit here to see if you can see that. And if you need to pause the video, you can at any given time to check out all these stats. Now, they're pretty stacked. I just read a few of them. Your vitamin C, again, in 10%, calcium 30%, vitamin D 45%. Whatever riboflavin is, riboflavin, I don't know how to pronounce that. You get 25% of that. Your vitamin BR12, you're getting 50%, 20% magnesium, 10% zinc, phosphorus 10%. So all the good stuff is going in here. Now this is like $2.50 Canadian, actually $2.57. Now, I did previously use, for a similar type of recipe, use the muscle milk, which was $2, which essentially is pretty much the same thing with flavoring. It's just this soya beverage stuff. And the reason I also have this is it has let's try and get the expiry there. It doesn't expire till March 2020, so it's got a year shelf life. So you could probably stick a couple of these in the back of your pantry and forget about them, and they are a very great source of vitamins and nutrients. I haven't really seen if we got an answer on what oatmeal we should be using. I'm not sure if we will get one, but if not, I'm just going to make the decision for myself. So we've got our oatmeal, we've got our fortified soy beverage, and the other thing we're going to be using is the instant potato mix that we have, which is pretty much dehydrated potatoes. And I've taken some from my prepper pantry to show that, we can use this stuff and it's not just for show and it's not just manufactured reality. But, the intention was to try and keep it as long as I can. But they cost $2. We can easily replace one, and we're not going to use the whole packet anyway. So we're just going to be using some to make a potato porridge. And why we're doing that is because it's going to add a little bit of nutrients in other stuff to the mix and make it a little bit more filling than just the oatmeal itself. And obviously we've got all the goodness is going to be going in to it from our fortified soy beverage. Now the other thing I have is some trail mix, and in this particular instance I've got the tropical harvest, which has quite a lot more dried fruit and a little less on the seeds and nuts. So we're going to be adding some of that, and they say like a 50-gram serving. We've looked at the trail mix many times before, but it's something I've tend to avoid a little bit in my recent holes because it's just too hard to resist eating it. So for a 50-gram serving, you're going to get 8% fiber, 2% calcium, 6% protein, 13 fiber, 13 sugars, some fat and some calories to add to your meal. As you know, you should be familiar with trail mix by now, but it's something we haven't seen or used for a little while at the thrift store prepper. Now, another little thing I picked up to snack on this evening on my day off was some of these little cookies, and I'm not sure these are insist on export pack. I don't know what that's all about, to be quite honest, but I think these are from India, I believe so, and they are, I think, glucose biscuits or cookies. It says enjoy them by mixing them in milk, but again, these kind of have a pretty decent nutritional value. I don't know if that's clear or not to you on the video there, but if you can't see it, we're going to get another 12% of iron. We're going to get 6 grams of protein from, I believe, 15 cookies. And they're kind of little tiny cracker type things. So what I was going to do is crumble some of those up to add just a little bit of extra something. Now, the mashed potato flavor is butter and herb, so it's a little savory, but hopefully not too much. And in emergency, I have a packet of brown and a packet of white sugar that we can sweeten up. But hopefully with the dried fruits and the nuts and whatever flavor we choose on here. Still no response on what flavor we should use, so maybe Baby G got bored of watching this live feed and decided she had other stuff better to do, and that makes no sense to you if you're not watching the live feed, so sorry about that. I do forget I've got 2 broadcasts going on at the same time, but we're going to go and try and concentrate on the recipe video and get back to it. So you might have guessed by now, we're not going to be cooking this in any conventional way. We're not going to be using the kitchen this time. We're going to be going with one of our recycled Ziploc bagging. This time, because it's kind of a tropical one, we're going to be using one of the bags from the coconut chips, that I had before. So as I have no idea on the choice of oatmeal, I'm gonna go with whatever I pull out first, which turns out to be apples and cinnamon. So we're going with apple and cinnamon. We had 10 packets to choose from. 4 apple, 4 maple and sugar, and 2 cinnamon and spice. Although maybe cinnamon and spice might work better, but we're going with whatever come out of the bag first. And we got some fruit going on, so fruit on fruit is always going to be good. So we're going to use 2 pouches, and we didn't really look at the nutritional value of the oatmeal, but we'll get back to that once we've got it in our cooker. And that'll give us something to talk about while this is cooking, or rather soaking up. And these are the instant notes, so they don't really need much than a couple of minutes in liquid to get them nice and soft. So we've got 2 of those in there. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some of our mashed potato. Now, I'm not sure how much we're going to put. Let's have a little look inside there. Can you see the mashed potato? It's a little bit clumpy, so that's quite a lot. So I'm going to just zip that up and kind of try to mix that around, and I'm going to just put that in front of the live feed camera. And if you're watching the main one, you're going to be seeing my tattooed arm, but we'll come back to the main camera and hopefully we can mix all that in together. Now, I believe that this mashed potato does have a little bit of dried milk in it, and also the oatmeal will more certainly have some dried milk in it, so we're going to get the goodness of that as well. There we go, that's mixed up nicely now. So we don't need our instant mashed potato anymore, so I'd say that's about half of a sachet, and if you do remember, you get I get 2 pouches in here, and that should give us about 4 to 8 servings, depending on how hungry you are. Now, for some reason, I'm having a little bit of difficulty in closing the bag, and I'm almost certain if I leave the bag, it will somehow... We're just going to put that aside, and I'm going to worry about that later. Next thing we're going to do is add some of our trail mix. So we haven't had this one in a while, and I usually don't buy this one because it only has 210 grams as opposed to the 250 that the regular has. So again, if you can see inside there, we've got some banana chips, we've got some papaya and raisins and nuts. So we'll toss as much of that as we can in there and try to get a few more of the good stuff. We can also add some after we've cooked, but it's kind of good to get some in there at the beginning. I don't think we're going to have much room to fit any of the cookies in, so I'm not sure if I should crumble. You know what, I was going to do it, so let's do it. We're going to open these and see if... I don't think we're going to be able to get 15 to get the nutrient requirements, but let's see how many we can get. I'm finding it difficult to get into these, so I may have to use scissors just to open them up there and start it. I actually haven't had these before. Oh, and that's cool. They kind of come in a little pre-packaged package. There you go. Pre-portioned package, should I say. So let's open up a couple of these and toss those in. And again, let's get the scissors on the job, because I'm finding it very, very difficult, and I'm not sure if anyone's still watching on the live feed, and maybe our live audience is gone to find more entertaining things to watch on YouTube. But back to the recipe. How many should we put in? Let's try 5. And actually, let's start with 2. So we're going to just crumble those up, and you know, as always, we spill a little bit in these recipes, but we don't cry over any spillages. We just pick it up and eat it. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get much in there. They're actually very kind of, not overly tasty, but sweet. I'm trying to think of what the flavour is. Maybe vanilla. So we're just going to crush those as much as we can onto the top of the oatmeal. And maybe we'll add some more to the oatmeal when we're done. So the next thing we're going to be doing is just pouring in some of the fortified soy beverage. And there's no little thing to pull off there. So using both hands just to make sure we have no spillage, we're going to fill this up. And hopefully at the end of this, we're going to get potato porridge that's full of nutrients and goodness, and should be very, very filling and hearty. And the other reason that I am making this is in fact my supper, and part of my oh, there we have a spillage, but you know what, it says try it with milk. Let's dunk the cookie in the milk and see how it works. I mean, it's not actually milk, it's soya beverage, but pretty good, pretty good. So what I might do is, while this is cooking, we'll quickly have a look if I can find the nutritional value of the oatmeal for anyone that's interested. And I believe we do have one of our subscribers that mentioned that she enjoys the nutritional value that we put into this. So I don't think it's overly... Actually, no, it is quite stacked, actually. So for 1 pouch, you will get 15% vitamin B, some folate, 10%, pantherannate, I can't pronounce half of these things, 10%, thiamine 70%, iron 40%, calcium 10%. No vitamins, but we're going to get 4 grams of protein, 12 grams of sugar, 3 grams of fiber. So the oatmeal does have a lot of stuff going in, and remember we're putting 2 of these oatmeal packages in, so all these numbers here are going to be doubled, and as well as all of these numbers. On top of the goodness is going to be coming from the nuts and dried fruits, and the fortified soya beverage is stacked with ingredients. And we've also got whatever the mashed potato has going on. So let's just spill up what spilt soy beverage we have, and you know, just as we don't cry over spilt instant mashed potatoes, we don't cry over spilt fortified soy beverage. So we're just going to leave that a little bit, and I think I know how to use the pause button, which is what we're going to do now, and we're going to come back in a couple of minutes to see how the oatmeal potato porridge is coming along. And while I'm on pause, I'm going to check in with my live audience to see how they're doing. So see you in a few. So what's up, everybody? It's been maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, and the reason I left it longer this time than the last time making the oatmeal recipe was because of the potato. I wanted to give it a little bit of extra time for it to cook, and I've had a little bit of a squidge and interact with my live audience while we've been off air. And I'm not sure if this has got enough liquid in it. It did feel a little bit crunchy, but what I'm going to do, or you could eat it straight from the package, as I've told you before. And this would be something that if you wanted to put together the night before and wake up in the morning and just add your liquid, you could do so, or even add the liquid the night before, and then it really would be nice and soft to eat the next day for your breakfast, or it's something you could prepare in the morning and take for your lunch or your morning snack at work or school. You could even eat it on the train or the bus. Now it definitely feels like something still, yeah, you see there is powder in the bottom. That's what went wrong. So I don't know how that didn't get all the powder on it, but that's not to worry. What we're going to do is just pour it in the bowl and give it a mix. I don't think we need to do much than that, and just let that soak up in there. So I'm not going to say that's a complete disaster. We just needed to mix it up a little bit more, but you know how the thrift store prepper works. We don't edit, we don't cut. We're rough and raw, and in anything it's going to show us how we can overcome. Now I'm actually going to toss this bag. You know, I do like to save them, but I can't be bothered to scrape oatmeal and stuff out for a bag, and I do have a bunch of them left. So the only thing is, let's kind of mix it up a little bit more. And that was my fear while I was off air, and I thought the only thing to do is really get it out and see for ourselves. And this is actually a much better option to cook it in a bowl, but you know how we like to do things here at the thrift store prepper and how we like to utilize our bags. So you can see to that we're getting this kind of nice and thick. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the beverage, and the more that we're putting in, obviously the more goodness is going into this. And I did have a little taste of it while I was on pause, and it doesn't taste very good at all. Certainly I would recommend, if you do buy this, buying one of the flavored ones. I think you can get either chocolate or vanilla, and that kind of gives it a little bit like of a milkshake taste. But you know, as long as you don't open it, it has a year's shelf life, and certainly is a pretty handy thing to have in your pantry. And I think in one of the last comments in one of the last videos I made, Gibson Girl mentioned something about getting some multivitamins or stuff like that at the dollar store because they're only $1. Well, yes, they are, and I was actually there today and forgot all about the vitamins. But this is a way that we can get a very good amount of those vitamins and nutrients from just one item. and it's a multi-use item. Unlike, you know, vitamin pills or vitamin powders, we can use this to cook, we can use this to make our oatmeal, we can use it to make our mashed potatoes, we can use it to drink, and once we're done, we do have a nice container. So it looks like the porridge. I'm going to add just a little bit more, you know, best to be safe than sorry. This does look kind of stodgy. Not sure how the live audience is getting along, but I don't know if this is going to be something we do regularly. Oh, we've had a bit of a spillage again, so we're making quite a mess on it. That's looking nicer now. So we've got a little bit of creaminess going there. It doesn't look like a big lump of glop. And let me get my rag. Actually, I have underneath already, there's a little bit of mashed potato. That's kind of funky and weird. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to taste. It's something I thought of and I haven't really tried to now, so it's kind of a little bit of an experiment. Let me just get a little tiny. Actually, that's not too bad. The apple flavour in the oatmeal works kind of well with the potato. I'm not going to lie, I think it would be a lot better heated up. And now that I've put it into this container, I might actually throw it in the microwave to finish it off later. You know, that's something you're more than able to do if you chose to do this yourself. But I'm going to add some sugar because I think it does need it. And I think I might even add some more nuts and some berries. So we're putting the brown sugar on there, and that's going to make a nice coat on the top there. And maybe we're just going to put the nuts on the top for garnish. And we're getting around to 25 minutes, so hopefully by the time we finish this, we're going to have a nice 25-minute long video of an original potato porridge thrift store prepper recipe. So let's put a good portion of these nuts in crushed up bananas on the top, and we've pretty much used the whole bag by now. There's that much remaining, although it wasn't actually full to the top, so maybe half the bag, I don't know, but we've got some left for a later date. I'm going to toss those to the side, and as we couldn't get the rest of the cookies in, we're just going to add those on the top. And you don't have to use these cookies. I got these because I thought they had some kind of glucose in them, and they did have a few nutritional numbers on there that were pretty impressive, and they were only $1 something other. And I do kind of like to crunch on cookies and crackers from time to time, as well as the trail mix. So let's kind of just push that on the top. And let's just go all out and add the other sugar. That way we used everything that we had on hand. So this is going to be a very, 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 very sweet dish. And just to top it off, let's put another drizzle of the disgusting soya beverage. But it's not about the beverage flavor, it's everything else that's in there. So I'm going to pick the camera up and give you a little look in the top there is what's going on. And again, in the HD screen, it looks pretty damn tasty. So all that remains is to get a good spoonful and a taste. So just to make sure, you know, we don't just throw this away afterwards. And I am actually going to eat it. I'm trying to get a little bit of everything on one spoon, which I think we may have got there. Yeah, the extra sugar, the extra nuts and the bananas, dang, that's actually pretty fine. I'm not going to lie. I know some people make these things, but really and truly, you've got to be trying this out. And now I've added the extra nuts and the sugar. I'm not even certain you need to go and go and heat this up. But there you go. That's how we've made potato porridge. We've topped it off with some tropical trail mix and some glucose cookies, and filled it up with, I'd say we got a decent 250 ml out of that, maybe a little bit more that went into this. So this is going to be my supper. That's my top tip for you. Mix some instant mashed potato with some instant oatmeal and you get potato porridge. And you don't actually have to follow this recipe with the trail mix. You can add to it what you want. Any dried fruit would work, raisins would work, but I figured with this that the sweetness of the tropical fruits would kind of take away a little bit of the savoriness of the mashed potato, but in truth you kind of don't notice it, especially with all the extra sugar and the bitterness of the soya drink that's kind of there when you just drink it on its own is gone. So all that being said, I think we should wrap this video up now. We did have a couple of little I'm not going to say disasters, learning curves in this recipe, but in the end we got there. We did have some spillages, as we always do, but you know, it's not a perfect world and mistakes happen. It's how we adapt with those mistakes is what's important. And nothing was lost. We managed to salvage our potato porridge. We managed to put it in a bowl, and that's packed with nutritional goodness, protein, and that's going to fill you up for sure. That's certainly going to stick to the ribs and keep you sustained for a day or two. Well, maybe not a day or two, but that's it. Thanks for watching. It's been a shit video production for the Thrift Store Prepper, and we'll see you next time.